Hi, thank you for watching us here at Tax Talk UK, where we talk about all things tax. So somebody contacted us. They have to use their car for their work. They're employed, and they're asking if there is any tax relief available for this car use. So before we move on to that, I would like to ask you please to take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you will easily be able to refer back to this information should you need to, as well as finding information on a whole wide range of topics that we have available. If you want to be notified of new information as we upload it, you should also turn on the notifications. So you are using your car, you're employed and you're using your car for your employment, and your employer isn't reimbursing you for this. So is there any tax relief available for this? And the short reply is yes. If you are employed and you are incurring any costs that are specifically for your employment and your employer is not reimbursing you for those, then you can claim tax relief on the cost that you incur. So much as you are still paying the cost yourself, effectively it's the same as if you hadn't been taxed on that income. It puts you back to that position. And this doesn't only apply to using your car. So in the event of using your car, what we would specifically be looking at is valuing the cost to you. And to do that, you would keep a record of the business mileage that you had done for your employment, and claiming that at 45 pence is the current rate, and up to 10,000 miles, and then over that would be 25 pence a mile. Now, just to clarify as well, going to and from work or a fixed a place of employment is not what we're talking about. We're talking about you've already got to work and your employer says, oh, could you just pop to see this client or to drop these materials off for this customer, or just pop to the bank for us. But something that you are doing for your employer, and they're not giving you any fuel money or anything to compensate you for the costs that you've incurred. That is the cost that we're talking about. And just as a little caveat on car use, of course, if you are using your car for your employment anyway, please do make sure that your insurer is aware that you're doing that. But yes, it doesn't just extend to the cost that you incur for car use. Anything that you have to pay that is only for your work, perhaps you have uniform that you have to clean yourself, or you have professional subscriptions that are only of value within your employment, no personal, or any of these expenses that you incur, you are able to claim tax relief for these expenses. Now, some industries where the employees will commonly have the same type of expenses have what we call a fixed rate allowance. So I'm going to, in the description, I'm going to put a link and you can look in there, you can look up for your particular line of employment if there's a set rate that applies to you, and if not, or perhaps if you're slightly different from the average within your employment, then you should just keep a record of the costs that you have incurred, and mileage if you're talking about the car use, any receipts. Obviously, quite often your employer will reimburse you if you say had to pay for postage when you're out. They perhaps give you the money when you're back. So just remember, if you have had the money reimbursed to you, then that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about costs that you've had to pay out of your own money that your employer has not given you back. and doesn't intend to, that it's just part of your employment that you have to do that. So what do you do then if you've incurred these costs? So it's quite straightforward. That you can simply make a phone call to HMRC to let them know that you are incurring these costs, or you can complete what is called a P87 form, and you can either complete that where you download it and put it in the post to HMRC, or you access your personal tax account to do that. So whichever of those ways. There are a lot of companies that will offer to do this for you for a certain percentage of the refund that you get if you haven't claimed it for a few years. That's fine. Nobody's going to do this for you for nothing. But it's something that most people could do themselves. I'll say, even if it's just a case of you can't manage to fill the form in, you could still just phone HMRC and give them the details. It's really is that simple. So then how HMRC ongoing give you the tax relief for these job expenses is via your tax code. So you phone them up and or you submit the application, you let them know that you are incurring a certain amount of expenses, and they will adjust your tax code, which means that then you'll get just a little bit more tax each month, and you're getting the relief that way. Sometimes that won't be possible because, for example, if you're using your car and you're talking about mileage, that might fluctuate quite a lot from year to year. So you may have to sort of just wait and do the claim on an annual basis. But, you know, some other things will be fairly consistent. And especially, obviously, if you're using the flat rate for your employment type, then that's always going to be the same. Obviously it might change within, but what I mean is unless you change employment, it's always going to be whatever the flat rate is for it. So yes, now also if you realise that actually I have been incurring this, but I didn't know that I could claim tax relief for the expenses. I pay the expenses and didn't really think anything more of it. This has just come to my attention that I could do this. Then that's fine. Again, you can let HMRC know, and they will backdate the claim for you. So this has become a lot more commonly known about, obviously, in the latter part of the COVID pandemic. A lot of us were working from home, and it was very well publicised that there was a tax relief available for the cost of working from home. So that wasn't anything new for that. Anything that you incur, anything that you do incur cost-wise that's not reimbursed, do make sure that you use one of the methods to notify HMRC, and you get your tax relief on that, whether it's through your code or a rebate at the end of the year. Even if it's not that much, it all helps, and you should obviously have all the tax relief applied that you are eligible for. So I hope that this helps, and again, I'm going to put the guidance and all the links in the description, and as I say, there's not a problem necessarily with using a company to do this for you, but they do take a large chunk of your refund as well as recompensing, and sometimes they will only be looking at the specific expense that they've approached you for, that they know is common in your industry. So it could be that you could actually claim other allowances by actually just sort of just having a chat with HMRC directly. So I hope this helps, and as I mentioned before, please do take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.